Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Again, we are going to be reacting to, so we're going to do a little bit more reaction content today, and this time it's going to be something different. While TF2 is my biggest one that is consumed, even if dude, I swear to God, a lot of the TF2 content is definitely doing it. I am still going to be doing a lot of variety things for the people out there because it's more, I'm doing this more for fun than I am to try to grow, but growing is kind of a part of the whole deal with doing this. I am trying to use whatever money that I do get from streaming and from making videos to do my other projects too. So there is that still there is still that, right? And maybe later on in the future when I get the time to, maybe I'll just split the channels into two where I do reaction content and then a new other one. But that will only happen if I'm giving the free time to do that. That's how that's gonna be. But for now, we're just gonna keep the content as varied as possible. We're gonna kind of go along with it. Again, my reaction content seems to be what's getting me the most of the views, especially with TF2 content. My gameplay content, on the other hand, that's kind of just me playing video games because I like playing video games. It's just fun. Also, I've been given a reason to now play video games, so it's even better. But tonight, we're gonna be reacting to the Fallout New Vegas Player in Hell. This is a Fallout New Vegas creepypasta that had come out by Dr. Borsch, but is also going to be looked at by Dags and apparently 28 Elijah 28, which I'm assuming is I see here that is the editor. So yeah, so if you want to look more at their content while we're looking at this content, you can like and subscribe to them. Also, as well, this will be a two-part series where I will be watching one half and then gonna go into the other half into it. But let's go on ahead and watch this real quick. My ass, it's a 2-hour video. Fuck.
The Mojave Outpost. Not counting Vegas itself, I'd argue this to be one of the most iconic points of interest to be found in the Mojave Wasteland. If you play by the books, this is somewhere you'll probably head to very early on. It's where you can get one of the best early game weapons, the service rifle, the place where you can find potential companion Cass.
Nobody's dick's that long. Not even.
I modded it and I just made her look cute. Like anime girl type cute, because fuck it, you know, why not? Yeah, it's gonna be a 2-part series, Saucy. I just, anytime I play a game, I will make every character fucking cute. I'll make the guy characters look pretty cool, and then that's probably what I'm gonna do most of the time. That is the types of mods that I put on my shit.
Long Dick Johnson.
Believability, fuck that shit.
Long dick.
As well as being the place where you can really start to forward your relations with the NCR if you so choose to. Its most prominent feature, however, is definitely this statue, showcasing a recreation of that armor that is featured.
I saw the one that you posted on my chat. That was actually a really good one. I'm not gonna lie, but I was kind of wondering like what this is about, because honestly, a new Vegas creepypasta just sounds entertaining to me. The only creepypasta that I do remember during the time when I was, you know, super interested in New Vegas, which still biggest fucking fan, was the one for the Lone Wolf radio tower.
You'll see, it's so fucking cool for an AUG.
Ooh, okay. Well, let's keep continuing.
All throughout the game's iconography. And if you're anything like me, you want a beeline for that shit. This is the most dripped out a man has ever looked. The only thing that competes is like this guy. But regardless, even on an NCR playthrough, the Mojave Outpost isn't really a place you find yourself coming back to that often past the first hour or two of starting a new playthrough. It stands tall, and for what it is, it serves its purpose well. Like I said, it gives you a good introduction to the NCR, but also the rival faction, the Legion, when an NCR trooper asks you to investigate what the Roman LARPing femboys are doing in the town of Nipton. If you want to know, not so great stuff. Who won the lottery? I did! Whoa. We've talked about most, if not all of the...
Every damn time anybody plays this game, Oliver always fucking dies no matter what. Who won the lottery? I did! I snipe him every fucking time. Rat Slayer be damned.
Get going for tonight. But I hope you all continue to have fun with the stream. I hope you all have an incredible night.
Have a good one, 15. Thank you for coming by. I hope you have a good one.
Primary things the Mojave Outpost stands for when it comes to raw, surface-level gameplay purposes. But at the Outpost, there's always been this one really peculiar detail. The fence post that separates the Nevada branch of the New California Republic with the motherland itself.
Wait, no, that's, yeah, the long road. That's literally the area that you go to after the DLC for what the fuck was it? The Lonesome Road. After doing the Lonesome Road, after bombing the NCR, that opens up. That opens up into an area going further down where you find a named character that you fight for a unique weapon. I remember this because I am fucking huge on collecting items in this game. I will collect anything in this game. If it has a fucking name, I will have it in my inventory. It is stupid.
The Long 15 is an interesting case. Obviously, there's plenty of points on the New Vegas map that separate the playable map from the out of bounds, but most of it is either made up of mountain ranges or maybe a river or two. There's rarely any other place in this game that presents the unplayable aspect of the map with as much of a tantalizing presence as this gate. And it is absolutely a standout to most players who will arrive at the Mojave outpost. Now,
it's crazy to think that when I was first playing this game, I did have my curiosities. This was before the DLCs had even come out. I was playing the games as the DLCs were being announced. I was like a fucking teenager during that time. And I did reach that outpost and I did look out to see what was out there. And I never really got the chance to do that. And it wasn't until when the DLCs came out where my curiosity came back, because during the time that I was looking at it, you couldn't enter it. There was no cheats during that time because I was playing on console, obviously. It was just curious. It was just like a gate. And it told you that you could open it, but it never really opened. And then you tried to go through invisible wall, obviously. So you're stuck looking at this thing that had, like, you want access to that you can't see. And it's just like, what the fuck is this? Where is this? I don't even know in real life where the I-15 was. It the fucking long road, because it's a real road in California, Nevada kind of area that you could go to. I don't even know where it goes, dude.
obviously, with hindsight, we were able to go slightly outside of this gate thanks to the Lonesome Road.
Oops. My button.
The Mojave outpost. They're made up of mountain ranges or maybe a river. Players who will arrive at the Mojave outpost. Now, obviously, with hindsight, we were able to go slightly outside of this gate thanks to the Lonesome Road DLC, but only if you choose to nuke the NCR. Unless you do that, there is literally no way to access what's behind this gate. No way to see what the heart of the NCR actually looks like outside of small glimpses of an irradiated and nuked landscape that really just serves to fight a handful of tough enemies. The area being able to be entirely cleared in less than 20 minutes if you're a skilled player. But factor in that Lonesome Road was the last story DLC to release for New Vegas, and that players had to wait almost a year in between the release, then you remember that the people who played this game on launch had no idea what could even possibly lie behind these gates for almost an entire year. You can even still find really old discussions about this topic on archived game forums today. This wasn't just a piece of set dressing for a lot of players.
This is like during the time that I never even touched a computer too. So like you're hearing people being like, yeah, dude, we were just as curious online talking about this stuff. Like all these curious little things. Wow, incredible. Like I never even thought that there was a community that was even talking about this. I was lonely during this time. I could have had friends talking about this shit. Me. They who were talking about this shit. I don't know who this we is. I just know I was a little bothered at the fact that I wasn't able to join in such discussions and get myself invested in such things because I didn't use a computer. I didn't even start using a computer until maybe a little after high school. So I've been on this computer for maybe about 12 years. Maybe just a little bit longer than that. Maybe.
But a direct spark of intrigue and curiosity for the player base at the time. People wanted to know what was behind those walls. People wanted to see the heart of the NCR. Of course, it is possible to glitch out of bounds and discover some stuff outside of it, but as expected, it's not much of anything other than sand and the occasional shrub or two. But that's our reality. A year ago now, a YouTube channel would surface around this idea. What is outside of the Mojave outpost? An innocent call of curiosity on the surface, with a response far more nuanced, confusing, and disturbing that would face in this player's wake. A player who not only found cut content, but a player whose descent into the out of bounds would unravel something that was never meant to be seen. Discoveries that don't make rational sense.
The idea of just like content being out there in areas that are inaccessible, that it could, I don't know. Okay, so the one thing that I don't like is when they're explained to basically to say that there's content that'll make you go insane, because obviously something like that just seems unbelievable. But still to be creeped out to look at some of this stuff, that's interesting. I love that. I love the idea. It makes me giddy. It's to have that kind of mystery behind a game. Like, imagine you go out of bounds and then all of a sudden you just see just a bunch of stuff that you wouldn't think that they would even want to add to the game. Obviously not real.
To be fair, Flappy Bird drove people mental.
Flappy Bird did drive people mental, because it's just a rage game.
And far beyond what any player would ever wish to access, and a degrading descent into something possibly far beyond our comprehension. This is Dr. Bosch, the Fallout New Vegas player in hell. I want to make this section of the video really quick because despite what you may believe, I do value your time and I don't want this video to be unnecessarily long just for the sake of it, but I do believe there's some groundwork to be laid out here because the elephant is way too big not to address this time. I don't really help myself when it comes to the Sagan Hawks comparisons, and I know that. He's one of the biggest inspirations for my channel, and I wear that on.
It's hilarious because we were literally just like debating where we were gonna look at it because I didn't like want. I still am a little iffy about reaction content. Yeah, dude. I looked at the Sagan Hawk one. That was the one before this, and it said that it was an hour. Then we saw this one. This one was 2 hours. So when I was looking at it, I was just like, well, I mean, we could go for the Sagan Hawk one, but we decided on this one obviously because I just don't know. Reaction content is a bit finicky when it comes to these kind of things. When I look at reaction content, I do tend to look at the whole thing, even if it's hours long, you know, sometimes I like the videos, but we're talking about my content. My content, I don't know if people like my content. I'm not secure enough to say like, oh, this is definitely going to be doing numbers in the fucking, like, this is definitely going to be doing numbers. Definitely people are going to want to watch this. They're going to watch my input into all this. I'm this interesting person. I'm not. I really am not.
Hawk's video is incomplete because the ARG wasn't finished at the time.
That makes sense.
Unlike this one.
But this is more or less not about like the thing. It's just my comfortability with doing really long content and wondering if I need to cut it in half. Because I do talk a lot. I made a fucking 5-minute video last me 23 minutes because I just have a lot to go through. In this case, I already made the executive decision that I was going to split this video into 2 videos because it just seems that I might have to talk a lot during this time. That is what makes the content transformative. That's what kind of goes on to it. But again, it's just for me, because I'm still new to this kind of content. For me, it's new to doing this kind of thing. It's still very strange to me that people would still want to watch me talk about this day.
Wednesday, my dude's Kappa.
Today is not Wednesday, my dudes. It's fucking Tuesday!
On my sleeve. So believe me, I know how suspicious it looks for me of all people to be covering the same series as his fucking 3rd most popular video ever. I know this, so I've never watched it. Fallout New Vegas is my favorite game of all time. I've beaten it at least 5 times during my tenure on this planet, and
no, I've beaten it more. I've beaten it 5 times in 1 fucking year. I played this game plenty of times. I know it like the back of my hand. I've researched it hella. 5 times is not enough. You need to play it 50.
Not enough, Kappa.
when I'm not playing Fallout New Vegas. I'm
Chud.
spending time watching Fallout New Vegas related videos, buying Fallout New Vegas related merch, attempting to manipulate every single person I know into playing Fallout New Vegas. Shit, man, I can't even go on a walk without blasting Ain't That a Kick in the Head in my AirPods and pretending like my boring Ohio suburb is the Mojave. In other words, I'm a fucking insufferable human being. So you need to understand that the moment I got word that there was even a Fallout New Vegas ARG to begin with, a combination of my favorite game of all time with one of the primary things I cover for my literal job.
In his video, he's never even beaten the fucking game.
The only game that I have yet to beat is fucking Fallout 4.
Because
that's the craziest thing.
Saying Monday Law.
That's hilarious. The title says Monday.
I watched Fallout New Vegas playthroughs with one man playing as the.
Why does it say
Mustache
Rabbit
Man.
Monday? Oh my fucking god, bro! Ooh, I'm about to fucking fight somebody. I'm about to fight my own fucking machines giving me this type of shit. Ugh, I hate this. Ugh.
So today, Dog Tuesday.
Shut up. I don't want to hear it from you. There. All right, but like continuing on, what was I talking about? Right. Like I can understand not finishing 4. I can understand not finishing 4. 3 is a little iffy. 3 is easy though. New Vegas just has this experience that you kind of have to finish. If you don't finish it, then it just feels like you're missing out on so much. Not even a playthrough is going to give you exactly what you want from this content, because just the amount of things that there are there to see, to experience, the endings that you get. Not everybody's ending is always gonna be the same, dude. Sagan is a LARPer in my opinion. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I think he is. It's a larger. I think he is. I think I agree with you, dude.
Avoided literally everything about it for as long as possible. No, I am not kidding. Sagan, and by extension, Sinister Heart as well, you guys probably made wonderful videos on the topic. You don't get 5 million views otherwise, but I knew I wanted to cover this myself one day, and even if we possibly come to similar conclusions, I do possess one thing that you guys didn't have at the time. A completed ARG. Last month, Bosch put out a note to his fans saying that the story is essentially concluded. There's the possibility of more on the horizon, obviously, but for now, the 20 videos provided to us seem to be the conclusion to the story Bosch wants to tell at this current moment. So, enough of a self-indulgent purity testing from me.
That's so funny because that's such a huge leg up. Just like that's the thing about it. Like I can understand the reason why anybody would want to immediately make a video as soon as you kind of see the content there and just be like, okay, I want to get to this immediately. But content isn't good. Content of quality isn't good unless you just wait for things to finish. If it feels incomplete and you know that it's going to be completed at some point, it's still being focused on, then yeah, absolutely. I think it's a good idea to wait before you get to that point. But some people just don't. And then you kind of like have the people who do the up the edge. But the thing is like, obviously with how the YouTube landscape goes, if you're there early, then obviously you're going to get the views. And later on, when the content is complete, all the people who actually have the quality content to be able to see all the pieces of the puzzle don't get the views. And it sucks too. Like it's disappointing. It's disappointing.
What exactly is Dr. Bosch? As all the setup would have you expect by now, the first entry of Dr. Bosch would simply detail his process on getting outside of the Mojave outpost. The video is as rudimentary as a circa 2012 movie maker guide could be, with a random-ass sample text showing up here in the first 3 seconds. To my knowledge, the method that Bosch ends up using to get out of bounds is not found in the base game, despite it being possible to get out of bounds here using other means. My guess is that this is a slight change that was just made to streamline the first first entry, but it could also mean something later on. Ironically, Bosch even ends up falling over back inside before even getting out of bounds, only to seemingly get back in on the other side. Again, not something you can just do in base New Vegas. Once outside, Bosch doesn't really do much of note. He attempts to do more parkour, but fails because he says his spacebar isn't very responsive. And while fooling around some more, he ends off the video by shouting out someone.
That's so fucking funny if you think about it. Bro did all of that, parkouring and everything, just to that's like if you do all of that when all you have to do is walk around the fence. Like, what the fuck was that all about for?
Named Mark for the idea, and says he'll explore more. This video is really bare bones, but it kind of needs to be. I won't be stopping coverage to analyze every video like this most of the time moving forward, but there's so much unique stuff here that I feel it's integral to point out, as it's not going to be things we will see with further entries. First off, Bosch's commentary through text is not something that is going to be present again in further entries. The only way we'll be able to gauge any reaction from him is through the body language in the way that he is playing, as well as really short and vague sentences left in descriptions. Speaking of which, this upload actually does hold an interesting sentence.
Mark suggested that I did a voiceover, but I had no mic, so the text was a
he was on the fence with it. That's funny.
Intro and outro were cut for whatever reason, but it's not like anyone outside the forum was gonna watch these anyways.
Again, this Mark character is mentioned, as well as a supposed forum Bosch is posting this to. He also does feel the need to mention that the intro and outro have mysteriously been cut out, and at the beginning, we do hear this sound. I tried the usual method of putting this—
I know that sound! No, that's audio issues. I used to have those when I had an older computer. Oh my god, dude, fuck those issues. I don't know, maybe there's some kind of like, fucking thing that maybe there's some kind of symbolism that this fucking video is gonna go through when it comes to that. No, that audio issue, I still to this day don't know how it works, but I've had that same noise happen to me. It's always it's grating. It's honestly fucking, it is creepy too, by the way, when you're just hearing it like in the middle of the night, you're kind of doing your shit, whatever shit you're doing. And that just happens, and you're just like, it's freaky.
Through a spectrogram, but it came up with no obvious results, so I don't think this is necessarily important right now.
No, it isn't. I don't think it's supposed to be, but if he made it important, that's incredible. But it itself is just audio glitches.
For the shortness of this installment and the seemingly innocuous nature of it all, there are certainly many things here that don't seem to add up. How was Bosch able to so easily get out of bounds? Why are there supposed corruptions that are taking place? Who the hell is Mark? Hopefully, all these questions will be answered as we descend further into the wasteland. Except for the Mark thing, I don't think he'll be important again. The video titled Mojave Raw picks up almost exactly where the first video ended off. Bosch leaves a message in the description that is much shorter note this time around.
Raw footage originally sent to just friends, posted it to the forums unedited in the
The entry is a lot.
I don't know if you guys, I don't know if the chat heard this, but he says, it's electrical frequency that is 50 or 60 hertz, usually around your electrical plug outlet frequency. That's interesting. I never figured that out. Well, because I'm not an electrician, or I don't know anything about that kind of stuff. But that's crazy. Who the hell is Mario? Same energy as who is Mario from Everyone Hates Chris? That's funny.
Longer than the one that we just covered, so I'll be summarizing only the important parts, or anything I just find interesting. The player takes his first steps outside the Mojave Outpost gate, the terrain not looking that abnormal from what you'd find typically. Once Bosch gets far enough away, he even pulls out his hunting rifle to look at how far the outpost statue has gotten from his position. This doesn't discourage him from continuing to explore, however. A lot of this footage is innocuous until around the 2-minute mark, where a strange metal structure is found right outside of the gates. Although interesting, there's nothing that would say otherwise to this just being a leftover asset accidentally placed here before the game shipped. The player seems to be absolutely infatuated with this thing for a while though. Shooting it, attempting to climb it, using it as a vantage point so he could hard scope the NCR statue one more time. After he
That's so fucking relatable. You have no clue how often I do that, just not even just streaming, it's just in general. I'll like go onto something, see something, and I get so interested in it that I'll try to figure out how to climb on top of it, monkeying around with the fucking thing like it's some sort of fucking like unknown obelisk of sorts, and then immediately just use it to, I don't know, take pot shots at the fucking local scorpion next door or something like that. I'm just not. I am a fucking idiot.
Gets bored. Another statue is quickly spotted in the distance. The song Lone Star starts playing as Bosch walks closer, and we'll soon find out that this is the second to last song the New Vegas radio will play for the rest of the series. Amazing news for me, as I won't have to worry about being claimed anymore, but I can imagine that this will be kind of distressing for Bosch as time goes on. I don't know if it's intentional, but the first lines of Lone Star eerily match up with the state of events that are currently taking place. I can see that Lone Star from 1,000 miles away, calling me back home, though I ventured far astray. When I see that beacon shining for me all alone, it calls me back to Texas and to home. The irony here is that we're likely not heading home, even though we have ventured far astray. As the sun starts to set, Bosch inches closer to this strange structure in the distance.
So my thought here, this is probably just going to be my my take in what's going on here, is, and he might explain it whether the same way or just explain it entirely, but what I feel like the reason why the song is being played there is because what home is the main map. It is what the main map is. That is the home of the game. That is where you go to do everything. And when he's saying that he's basically wandering outside of where home is, that is where he's doing. That is, he's wandering outside of where the map is compared to where that is home. Everything outside, and then everything outside is kind of where he's venturing, and to see how far he goes, and he may get lost. That's my take
that
on it.
As he approaches, he's officially gone beyond the border of the map present on his Pip-Boy. The abandoned house asset leaves little discovery to be found again, and this can still easily be classified as a leftover asset. The Pip-Boy switches over to the last song that we'll hear played from it, Shadow of the Valley. Again, the lyrics eerily fitting the theme of
Hell yeah, we're watching some Sonic EXE level Fallout creepypasta video. It's the only thing that I should be doing right now. It's interesting. It's getting pretty interesting. Actually, in fact, if I get, like, once we get to the finish of it, we might ourselves look at Bosch's entire discography of what goes on, and then we'll give our take on it. That would be fun, right, chat?
What is currently happening on screen. In the shadow of the valley, I would like to settle down. Wide open space, wind on my face, a distant horizon, the moon on the crest, in the shadow of the valley that I love best. I have wandered many places, but they're all the same to me. Nowhere I found to settle down. A little bit further, I'll find my rest in the shadow of the valley that I love best. Again, it's not too difficult to see how these lyrics could resonate with the given situation at hand. It's as if our Pip-Boy is directly talking to us, as if we're given a warning to turn back now, lest we find our rest.
But the new Vegas series from Mike Burnfire and Zach Hazard. Why does that sound familiar? I'll take a look at that like later. Maybe it might like something that I can like pick up on. Hey, dude, if I become a Fallout streamer, that'd be great too, because I fucking love Fallout.
It can be purely coincidental for all I know, but it's something that I haven't seen any of the comments point out up until now, so I wanted to share this. In the distance, Bosch spots another strange metal structure and pieces of a house. The amount of leftover assets that are here is starting to get eerie within the vast black emptiness. Eventually, a larger abandoned house is found that actually features some junk items in it.
Also,
Why?
Their Fallout New Vegas series is over 400 episodes, I believe, at this point.
Yeah, no, I remember. I was looking at the gun rants because every time he talks, I think if I'm correct, he also has gun rants. I think he also has gun rants on like the on Cyberpunk 2. Yeah, he just talks a lot of shit about the guns because they just don't make sense half the time. It's really fucking funny.
were these left here? The structures themselves kind of make sense, but we would in no circumstance be able to find these empty bottles and tin cans. I'd like to also mention that this is officially when our radio turns off. I believe that this is the pinpoint of the point of no return. Ultimately, there is nothing to do over here. Heading south from the structure leads to a makeshift campfire with, again, more junk items. One of these being a lunchbox, but when we interact with the lunchbox...
What?
Oh shit, Long Dick Johnson is back. We are fucked! Bosch gets a quest marked, despite it being outside of the play.
M. Johnson Ver. Question. YED. Okay.
Playable parameters. More cut content. The marker tells him to very slightly go northwest, and as he looks out into the distance, the video comes to a close.
Yeah!
So no, unfortunately,
That's
the
creepy.
quest isn't a reference to Long Dick Johnson. Sorry that I got your hopes up. M. Johnson Ver is a really strange quest name that sounds like absolute gibberish, but there's really only one person that this could serve as a reference to. Richard Mentor Johnson, the 9th Vice President of the United States. Vice President to Martin Van...
Well, first, Martin Van Buren, the Van Buren projects, I feel like that's gonna be it. But don't you find it really fucking funny, absolutely fucking hilarious that whenever there's an ARG or creepypastas of any type, they kind of use if you know you know. Oh, if they're just making if they're alluding to the Van Buren project, as soon as he said fucking Van Buren, I was just like, oh yeah, they're talking about that old fucking project that they were doing before. But what I find fucking funny is I didn't even know the vice president until I fucking said it. Like, fucking what? Oh, that is fucking wild. They use such strange things to kind of describe these things, and it's funny to me.
Mersault to Doro.
Once again, the video titled Stuck picks up exactly where the last video left off. It's pretty rare for any of the videos going forward to not do this, so if it does happen, I'll point it out. The description is once again short and vague, simply reading,
Kept exploring. There was nothing else to do.
The first thing Bosch seems to try to do is flip through the radio stations to try to turn them back on, none of them playing anything. Although, the DLC ones do play static, which is a cool detail. Bosch really wants his radio back, even turning up the sound settings, but alas, nothing works. Exploration in the Out of Bounds becomes a lot more frantic from this point on, seemingly trying to make it to the quest mark, while Bosch still seems to be absolutely infatuated with all the rubble around.
It's really funny how he starts panicking once the radio turns off, dude. I know the feeling. The game really knows how to make you feel lonely. It is a single player game, and it will make you feel like it's a single player game. You will be walking out in the darkness of it, and there is nothing for miles, or what feels like simulated miles, walking from one place to the other, and the only thing you have with you are your thoughts, walking down the roads, getting to your next delivery stop to wonder what the next quest is going to be. It's always that in between, and this game fucking knows that. You will constantly be walking, you will constantly just be hearing nothing, not an enemy in sight, and maybe it'll be a break in between where a random event will happen, and sometimes the random event doesn't play and you are still alone. So the only thing you can do is whether keep a companion on you or the radio, because honestly, it just gets too distressing for your mind to take. It's just really good at doing that.
Fair, nothing super insane has happened yet, so I guess it makes sense. On the way to the quest mark, we actually stop by the Mojave outpost again, Bosch visibly showing excitement about this. Until he gets closer. None of the NPCs actually seem to be at the outpost anymore, the place looking like it was hastily abandoned in the middle of the night. This in itself would be insanely strange, but the revelation that things have truly gone wrong wouldn't come until Bosch attempts to get back into bounds. The way he came in isn't working. Fast traveling is giving an error. Nothing Bosch does at this current moment can allow him to escape the trap he's placed himself in. And you could really start to see this through the mannerisms of how he plays. Although we rarely hear from Bosch himself, so much is said through the body language of his inputs that it's honestly impressive. Even down to getting spooked by changes in
such a short time.
They did an amazing job doing that, but like for me, while I do love the idea of just having to travel throughout the thing, just being alone, like if you choose to be alone, then yes, you do feel alone, but I still like for my eyes to be able to see things. I'm guessing that's the reason why they did that, is because they want your eyes to look at something and be like, oh, I'm excited to go to that thing because you can finally see what it is. Your eyes are so tired of looking. It's like simulated fatigue. Your eyes are so tired of looking at nothing. Lands in between. So right when you finally find a mark, a fucking like an area, like some kind of landmark, you get excited and you're just like, I gotta get there. I want to get there. I need to know what's there. I need to find something there. And the one Fallout that doesn't do that too well is technically Fallout 3, where though the map itself is a great map. I love Fallout 3's map because I love the city. I'm a city boy. So obviously if I want to spend my apocalypse, I want to be able to crawl through buildings and shit. That's really fun for me. So when I was playing Fallout New Vegas, I will say Fallout 3 is terrible at making you feel that same amount of loneliness as Fallout New Vegas does. Fallout New Vegas is perfect for that feeling. Fallout 3 though just has the better map outright because you just have so much to look for. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of secrets that can be hidden around the corner. It's a very great map for me, for someone like myself who likes looking for that kind of thing. While New Vegas does get you that feeling where you just want to find your next landmark because you just don't want to be in the desert anymore. You want to be out there. Like maybe a raider or two would be nice, you know?
It's all sold really well here. Hey, so little editing memo here, but one of the things that I noticed while I was going back through the footage is that if you look here, the Mojave Outpost statues have switched positions. Typically the NCR Ranger is on the right and the Desert Ranger is on the left, but if you look here, they've swapped. I don't know how many memos like this I'm going to be leaving throughout the video. I probably will find a few other things that I missed while I was writing the script, but I thought that this particularly was a really cool detail. I'm telling you, this project is filled to the brim with stuff like this. I'm definitely not going to get every single thing in this video, so absolutely keep your eyes peeled, and if you see anything interesting while we're covering this, absolutely let me know. Before going back into the wastes, we see that for some reason, chips from the casinos on the strip are in one of the dilapidated buildings. This obviously wasn't something that was there before, Bosch even stating so in the first episode. These had to have been placed here. The rest of the episode is really just meandering around outside the outpost, Bosch wanting to find a way to get back into the Mojave, though the attempts prove futile, and he continues to follow the marker forward.
That's spooky. That's spooky as shit. I'm not enjoying this at all.
While venturing back into the vast, dark expanse of the wastes, Bosch continues to find more of these random structures of ruined foundation. Although maybe out of coincidence, the discovery of multiple of these weird metal contraptions has led us to stumble upon a radio signal. UVB 68. Tuning into the frequency, it seems to just be static, not dissimilar to the static emitted by the DLC frequencies. But after adjusting the tune once more, we start to get something. It sounds like a recording of someone's voice, the frequency seeming to occasionally overlap with music as well. The audio as of right now is not legible, nor is the name of the frequency, so we'll simply just have to proceed for now. In the distance, Bosch seems to spot smoke? Upon further investigation, it seems to be coming from a barrel, but strangely no fire actually seems to be present inside. Does this mean the title is like a double entendre? This could also very well be a signal, so I don't know, just an interesting thought. The detour abruptly ends, however, as Bosch continues to approach the quest marker, a shack in the distance. As he does, the frequency gets more ear-piercing and illegible. Unlike the ruined houses from before, this marker evidently leads us to the first interior we have found out here. As the sun rises over the wasteland, Bosch enters inside, having us lose our signal.
Ooh.
Now, unlike previous entries, this one gives us a lot more to chew on. The discovery of not just multiple, but what turns out to be a whole farm of these bizarre metal structures giving us a signal is absolutely...
Chat, I gotta ask, even comments as well, if you guys are watching for this. I want to hear your opinions on this. If your game started to play this shit on you, a game that you've been playing for years, right? Something that you've been doing for like a millennia, it's your fucking favorite game, you go through it, and then something like this happens, something that you don't know anything about. Very strange stuff, right? Very strange happenings. Would you continue on doing what you're doing? For me, I think I would, to a certain degree, but I would still shit myself thoroughly. I'm gonna be honest. As long as I still kind of put it to myself to believe that no physical or like, you know, absolute mental harm is gonna put it onto me, I think I'd continue something like this. For my eyes, I think it is something that I kind of want to push through to see what happens. Because if I don't, I know I'm gonna miss out on something interesting, an interesting story at most. Because this is fucking terrifying.
Absolutely connected in some way. And that name, UVB-68. While there's no actual station named UVB-68, there is in fact a very similar and also very unnerving station connected to the real world that fits this description. UVB-76. I'll keep this very brief, as to my knowledge, this isn't actually that relevant to the story at large, but the signal is notorious for being an incredibly mysterious Russian radio.
So long as that doesn't seem to break my game, I'd love to follow and seem content, but I'm also the type who wouldn't be scared of this at all.
I would be, it's not that I would be scared, I would be disturbed. I'm gonna be honest.
After putting thousands of hours in FNV and 3, I would probably just KMS with what I'm about to be put through.
I'm curious.
That broadcasts 24/7, 7 days a week. Ever since the late 70s, no one really knows the purpose of this broadcast other than it likely being used by the Russian military in some way, shape, or form. The strange monotone frequencies it emits with rare interruptions of words spoken in Russian is eerily similar to the things we hear emitted through UVB-68. And when looking at all the other call signs that have been used for this station in the past, Yegstech is among one of them, so that's another half of this quest name's mystery solved. UVB-76 is a really bizarre rabbit hole in its own right, and you can find a live stream of the broadcast that plays literally non-stop to like 5 average viewers at a time. And you can spot some interesting characters in here like Robert Nana Kwam Azar Q9I, who shares Metatron Robert a shared delight, word, true, prejudice, good, and predomic melodic, holy spirit, ratified, yes, senior, loyal princess, salute.
What the fuck?
What the fuck? The station also seems to get hacked occasionally, my personal favorite instances being when a spectrogram of the fucking troll face was played here, or Nirvana's The Man Who Sold the World cover. The fucking Russian military broadcast station, by the way, this thing literally has the nickname Doomsday Radio when you're putting a troll face.
Bro, the internet will never stop ceasing to amaze me. Not just the internet, but humanity. Because holy shit, are they the only people to look at something fucking creepy or something that's like the Doomsday Station and just be like, yeah, I'm gonna hack into it and just play a fucking random song and put that troll face. Fucking humans, bro. Fucking people.
Face on it. Okay, I'm getting wildly off topic, and I'm sorry, but I bet no other video essay on this topic has talked about the fucking troll face hijacking. Looting, shooting. Bosch starts to explore the abandoned shack, looking for anything of note. The description reads pretty bad loot, however, so don't expect us to find an AMR or something. He starts by
Optimus
taking a
Prime
string of
stole my
items
whole
sitting on a
last jaw.
cabinet. This consists of nothing that special, surgical tubing, scissors, and morphine? Remember this for a little bit. We'll touch up on it more. He continues to loot the cabinets, finding some MREs, an item that you can typically only find in the Divide, as well as something called an emergency.
So if I'm correct, if I remember right, a lot of the drugs in Fallout can't be really named after the real life drugs of it. So if I'm correct, morphine is literally just what Med-X is. And there's a lot of other things like
morphine, yummy, yummy in my tummy.
I can't remember all of them. All I know is I think fucking Psycho might be methamphetamines.
Hey,
Jet
I
might
was
be
using that stuff while in
weed?
the hospital.
Maybe? I can't remember.
Morphine
That's funny.
does this really weird thing to me, where it feels like it's breaking my chest open when it first activates.
I don't think that's normal. What the fuck?
Talk to Doro.
Mask. Going to equip it, we see that the model is that of the Raider
That
Blastmaster
Axis
helmet,
morphine,
the item
yeah.
being renamed for a reason outside of my
That's
understanding
Psycho.
at the moment.
I
The
know.
model features a firefighter helmet alongside a gas mask, and if you're wondering, the model seems to resemble the NSA mine firefighting gas mask because of course I'm the only fucking freak that would know this information.
That's
Get
hilarious.
used to seeing it,
I like this
because
guy.
from this point forward, Bosch doesn't take it off. Behind this cabinet sits a bathtub with a shotgun, and
Apparently,
what seems to be
it
a
actually
syringe.
is normal
However,
for it
You
to feel like that.
Fucking,
because
you
it
fucking know.
expands all of the arteries and veins.
That's crazy. I didn't even know that's what morphine does. That's a crazy visual. A bathtub with morphine and a shotgun. I mean, the only thing I can think of is to, I don't know, sing into the shotgun. You know, that's the only thing I can think of whenever inside a bathtub with a side of morphine.
neither item seem to be obtainable. We'll soon find that this isn't the strangest thing going on in this corner, however. This is definitely the most surreal thing we have stumbled across so far. From what I can tell, it's not explained why these objects, including a chemistry station, are upside down, but it's a theme that we should remember in case it comes up again later. Bosch once again shows off his emotion through body language when this really bizarre event occurs. Sitting on a shelf next to the left of the bathtub, there's a collection of children's toys. When Bosch interacts with a red block, a pop-up appears at the top right. Good. Now press Z again to let go of the skull. He proceeds to throw the block across the room and shoot it. Bosch continues to loot the house of any valuables, grabbing an empty sunset bottle here, a syringed finger there, you know, the usuals, until he stumbles upon a really interesting item. A black box. Now, if you don't know what a black box is, they're a really grim piece of technology meant to archive flight data and the last words of a cockpit voice recorder in the event of a crash. They're meant to withstand really harsh conditions and are used to
fucking finger butthole. Yeah, no, that's pretty fucking grim. It's not gonna lie, a fucking black box.
diagnose what problems that led to a plane crashing. This item is stationed here along with another black box, as well as developed film. Picking up these three gives us a note to our quest. MJV_code yourself smarter. We'll touch on this in a bit. The last item Bosch finds in this corner is a signaling gun, or flare gun. For maximum roleplay value, he takes a seat on the sofa and looks through the logs he had picked up on his Pip-Boy. The first black box is an image depicting the HUD camera of a plane. As a commenter pointed out, the interface looking nearly identical to declassified footage of an F-16's HUD camera, or what might prove to be more accurate in our case, an F-14 HUD camera. Before getting to the black box audio, there are two other pictures to look at. The first is kind of undiscernible, but from what I'm able to make out, it looks like an aerial view of land from the cockpit of a plane. Notably, you can make out what looks like a horizon right here. The second picture depicts
that's fucking weird. Like, I don't know, maybe you guys aren't as disturbed as I am to see this kind of thing, but it's kind of just like, I don't know, finding this kind of stuff in my own experience, if I just find something like that, I don't know, it would just be very, very weird. Very weird whenever I think about that kind of thing. Like, why would this even be here? What part of the storytelling? Is this going to be real life storytelling, or is this going to be in-game storytelling? Interesting and interesting.
Radio towers from the real-life location of Black Mountain, Nevada. A location that you can not only visit in-game, but is also part of a radio show that you can tune into to listen to the absolute super mutant diva Tabitha mouth off.
We'll be right back after this word from our sponsor, during which Raoul
Was that the
will
black box
contemplate
for
how
Malaysia
lucky
Flight
he is to be
370?
The black box
Wasn't that the one with the crew members' names being some Ting Wang?
No,
Way too
no,
low.
no, no,
Holy fuck,
no,
Ray, go
no,
die.
no, it's not that one. It's not fucking that one. No, 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 no. Do not repeat those names. I swear to fucking God, do not repeat those fucking names. Oh my fucking God. I hate that. I fucking hate that. Oh my fucking God, I remember that meme. I fucking remember that fuck ass
is
meme.
really intriguing.
Okay, let's head north.
The voices here are a lot more discernible than the ones that were coming from the UVB frequency, and that's because it's directly sampled from the 1989 Gulf of Sidra incident. The one featured in the video is a heavily edited snippet of the recording, which strangely abruptly ends despite still seemingly having more than half the time left. How important the actual Gulf of Sidra incident
How
is to this
about
whole
we
mystery
let go
is
of
sort of
that?
lost on me, and still likely feels like just an eerie
Hey,
Easter
guys.
egg like the name of the UVB radio station. The only notable thing I can find when doing research on the conflict was when the nation of Libya claimed much of the Gulf of Sidra, the territorial waters were colloquially declared a line of death. Crossing the line, in turn, would invite a military response. In other words, you can interpret that as going out of bounds. Bosch equips his signaling gun, the shack making a really strange noise in response. Leaving the shack, the sun has risen over the Mojave, the sky looking really yellow, even yellower than it typically looks.
Fucking hate that about fucking both Fallouts. One is like a nasty green tint, and the other one is like a nasty yellow tint. I fucking hate it. It's like whenever they describe Mexico in like every fucking like what was it in a lot of HBO shows where it's just a yellow fucking tint.
This entire episode has had a lot of really interesting implications
Yes,
through its environmental
somehow
storytelling.
Mexico
When you
always
start to
has a
actually
piss
analyze the
filter.
items shown throughout this shack,
It's
it
true, I
starts
visited
to paint
Mexico.
a picture of a very eerie scene.
LMFAO.
We find several pieces of surgical equipment throughout the shack. Surgical tubing, a surgical mask, a chemistry set, a severed finger, and of course, morphine. The black box in the corner, something typically only recovered from plane crashes also being here, gives us an idea of what possibly could have happened. Near here could have been a plane crash of some kind, possibly caused by an air battle. Whoever owns this shack could have stumbled upon the wreckage, and the person who crashed could have potentially still been alive. The morphine and surgical equipment found around the shack could have been in hopes of the person inside to resuscitate the pilot, possibly even needing to remove a finger at some point. Even the emergency mask and MREs found could point to this, these being things that the pilot had on him at the time. The Blastmaster helmet being specifically renamed to allude to this being the stand-in for a flight helmet, though this doesn't explain the syringe and the shotgun found in the bathtub. Whatever happened here could have been a lot more sinister than just wanting to help a fallen pilot.
I'm telling you,
Anyways,
they
let's
sung
talk about
right
morphine.
into it.
I've been alluding to the importance of this syringe being labeled as morphine for the entire section, so I'll finally explain why. It's because there isn't an item in any Fallout game that is labeled morphine. Well, not specifically, at least. Med-X is a chem that debuted in Fallout 3. Its purpose is to be a painkiller, typically giving you a 25+ damage resistance for the remainder of the drug's effect on you. Its practicality not being similar, but near identical to the functions of real-life morphine. But it's not called morphine. Well, it actually was meant to be. MedX was actually a name given to the item morphine at the last minute due to the real-life drug name causing censorship of a worldwide release, specifically in Australia. The name ID for MedX in the files of the game is even still morphine. This is a really niche piece of Fallout trivia that is
I don't like censorship for those reasons. It's just like, come on, don't be a pussy. But the idea that like all the drugs had like a specific set, like they had like specifically certain real world like counterparts that were very interesting. Like again, I'm pretty fucking sure that Psycho was fucking like, I don't know whether cocaine or fucking straight up meth. I just can't remember because it did like a lot of damage and whatnot.
See, this is why I don't like this kind of video, because he's making such a big deal about it. Being labeled morphine and ooh, how spooky that is. And then it just turns out, oh yeah, this is because this is cut content.
I find it interesting
to be named something different.
They all had different ones, and that's just kind of interesting. Like it's an interesting like kind of
at BIGKUMADM, cry harder, Mersock to Doro.
It's fun trivia. It's fun
inside
trivia
of this video, but it doesn't give us a direct answer as to why this MedX is called morphine. But that quest marker from earlier might help give us a hint, as now this serves as the second callback to Van Buren.
The cancelled Van Buren! Here comes a giant fist!
The video opens up with Bosch already having shot a flare into the sky, the flare just straight up vanishing before it can even hit anywhere. Before heading further, an actual investigation of the car in front of the shack happens, with nothing much of note being able to be found, at least in the car itself. Next to it is a strange assortment of junk items once more, one of the weirder ones being a severed ear. Now, just like the severed finger that was in the shack, this would already—
Did you guys hear that? Hold on.
happens, with nothing much of note being able to be found, at least in the car itself. Next to it is a strange assortment of junk items once more, one of the weirder ones being a severed ear. Now, just like the severed finger that was in the shack, this would already be weird on its own, but then I thought about it a little bit more. There is no item in Fallout New Vegas that is meant to just be an ear. Sure, there's severed legionary ears that you can find as a quest item, but there's no regular severed ear you can just find in the wasteland. But there is in Fallout 3. Despite the two sharing the same model, they do differ in their names and purposes across the two games. 3 and
That's really funny. I'm like missing out on small little details that I'm listening to this video. I don't know, maybe it's coming from like Dr. Bosch's video, because there is technically small sound effects being played through there, but I can't really make them out half the time. Interesting.
And New Vegas share an insane amount of overlapping assets, but the name carrying over from 3 here to New Vegas is really peculiar. Before heading out, Bosch just kind of lingers around the shack for a little bit, taking in the scenery. Though when he spots this terminal behind the house, the UVB signal picks back up. Looking through the terminal, most of the options are shown as errors, except one, which just seems to be an excerpt about firearm maintenance. Again, this isn't text that can be found in New Vegas, but rather on one of the terminals in Fort Independence, a location in Fallout 3. The Fallout 3 parallels so far have been incredibly strong, but I'm not entirely sure what it means just yet. Heading away from the shack, we see a massive radio tower looming in the distance, possibly
Kuma might be right on this one. It might just be to kind of like give a certain era of just weirdness to the video, to kind of give it that little edge, you know? I don't know, maybe, or it could just be a fucking mistake.
Being the thing that made us pick up our UVB signal. Although as we approach, we see like 5 more load in, one of them being on top of a massive dilapidated high-rise, a type of building that you don't really see in the Mojave, but rather something a lot more reminiscent of the DLC location, The Divide. The player is noticeably perplexed by this discovery, attempting to climb the towers and also shooting a flare in the high-rise's direction. Right under one of the towers is a dilapidated building with a campfire inside. And there is a stash of consumable items as well as remains? Looking at the icon of it in the inventory, it seems to not exist. Although it gives you +1 HP for 5 seconds, so Bosch does not hesitate to eat it. Must have learned that one from the White Glove Society. Outside of the trailer sits 2 water bottles with 1,900,025,835 rads. Jesus Christ, you might as well drink raw uranium. I don't think there is a single instance of rads ever going in the 100,000s, let alone millions like this. The only place
I don't think you could ever do that. I think the only times that I saw that was when you go into Fallout 3, when you go into the Super Mutants area, it goes upwards of like 999 maybe more, but that's the only time I remember it going that fucking high.
in the entire franchise I believe comes even remotely close is only found in Fallout 4, and that even still caps around at 10,000. Something is seriously not right out here. Heading east from here lies this massive crater, the landscape looking scorched compared to everything else we have seen so far, as if a nuke landed here. The rats counter going up as we approach, giving credence to this. Moving around this crater, these giant vertigo-inducing concrete walls block out our immediate way forward. Again, it's as if the world itself is trying to block us away from something. Behind this wall seems to lie a vast, big empty. Looking at the Pip-Boy, we seem to have made it from the southern part of the Out of Bounds up west. As we can see Canyon Wreckage, the entrance to the Lonesome Road DLC, not far by. Approaching more ruins in the distance, the radio lets out a really disturbing final sound before the connection is cut.
That's actually really fucking funny. I didn't know that. I forgot that there is a fucking puddle you can drink from that can... Isn't that basically insta-kill? I'm pretty sure that's fucking insta-kill. You drink that, you just die there, like straight up, because you just a little thirsty. You're a thirsty little boy.
Yeah, it is.
You just fucking melt.
Once again.
That gives me anxiety.
As commenters pointed out, this final stretch of audio, again, has a really disturbing origin. The final part of this transmission is the last words said of the astronauts during the
asset creator just used the enlarge tool on.
That is true. You are right about that. That is very much true. I know the exact walls that you're talking about. I'm pretty sure they're made of...
Since you wear armor or anything, really.
I think it's made of billboard. I think it's straight up like all of them are just like giant ass billboards that kind of surround New Vegas. So that's pretty interesting. Also, like all the buildings there are from technically like Fallout stuff, right? Like the dilapidated buildings are definitely from areas like in fucking the other places. The buildings that were wreckages are definitely areas that you can find. The wreckage of the home that you first found actually might be one of the houses that you find, whether the church, all churches, by the way, it's not just one, but the church that you can find in like let's say I'm sure it was Lamplight, I think it was, and then also the shack is just your commonplace shack for it looked like it was the same one that they use for the fucking robot in the beginning.
Custom-made models in this video series, like those radar things he was standing on.
Yeah, I saw those. Those are interesting.
The Apollo 1 incident in 1967. The mission never flew. The cabin of the shuttle catching on fire during the launch rehearsal, killing every astronaut involved. The final words being their screams. Again, why this is here is unknown to me at the moment. That scorched landscape we saw earlier could possibly have something to do with it. Maybe an incident here similar to Apollo 1, but with the power of an entire nuke could have happened, leaving this crater in its wake, still burnt to ash, still irradiated. Bosch continues to head east, discovering an even larger pile of rubble before something heavily unexpected happens.
Canyon wreckage?
He discovers canyon wreckage,
Oh!
an area in bounds. But this is not canyon wreckage, at least from how we know it. The implication here is pretty clear. The Mojave Wasteland, as we once knew it, may not even exist out here anymore. The landscape having been replaced with these desolate structures that might vaguely resemble what we grew to know, while also being nothing like it. The place we discover in order to realize this revelation is also incredibly smart. Lonesome Road is a DLC that many praise for feeling like what a landscape that hasn't been able to move past the apocalypse would feel like, far greater than the Mojave does. A common misconception a lot of people have about Fallout, and honestly Bethesda might even too, is that Fallout is meant to be post-apocalyptic, but in actuality, it's more post-post-apocalyptic. New nations have formed from the ashes, trying to piece back together the new world. Societies and tribes using pre-war.
It's a concept of the Forever War, you know, the one that I was talking about, like in Warhammer. It's people say that it's a cop out to be able to make more products, but I'm gonna be 100% with you. I believe in the Forever War, and in this case, it's the Forever Apocalypse. It's like you can make pretty good standing on people not wanting to make things better for humanity, and then humanity surviving that kind of thing, doing crazy shit. I don't know. I think there is room for it. Like if the Fallout franchise just kept going in, just making the world end over and over and over again, they can, and I think they can make it work. I'm going to be honest with you, if they got good writers for it. Obviously, even the Forever War needs a good writer or two for it to keep on standing. And for the people who are going to be thinking, hey, this is just going to be boring, I mean, all that's going to happen is the world is going to end. Well, the idea of it is you're not focused on the world getting better. That's the setting. What you're focused on is the people within the world to make it better. Like you just want to look at how the characters survive.
New Vegas actually feels like people are trying to move on. It's the only game that does it, and you can see very clearly the toll that this puts on the NPC's mental struggles.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. But that's kind of like they're fighting their own war. They're not fighting a war that does it.
Premise really good, but Forever Winter is early a Garbo.
Forever Winter do the premise really good, but Forever Winter is nearly Garbo. The idea of it is interesting. The idea of it works if done well, because you're not telling the story of how to move on from a war. You're just doing the story of how it clearly affects people from it. The story is not based on the setting, it's based on the individuals that have to go through said things, while also trying to make sure that, like, you know, you don't want it to end, so you kind of have to have that forever war, you know, the forever apocalypse, the forever thing that doesn't get better because people don't want to get better. If you think about it, it's not just, you're not just making a point as to the characters themselves, but a state of mind that people can hit. Like, you know, some people that do drugs in some cases, it's always going back to it, you know? It's like in this case, it's not an individual person, but it's everybody. The war will always go on because the world just doesn't want to move on from it, which is a good storytelling aspect. I will say so myself. I kind of like the Forever War. I like the idea of it. It just, I like it because sometimes things that don't end can work. That guy was dancing on my face the entire time. The ads have started.
For technology as well as their own ingenuity have started to thrive in what was left of this world. The Divide is somewhere that does not reflect this at all, and that is a big part as to why it is my favorite DLC. I also just love Ulysses. I don't care what people say about him, you just don't understand the purpose of his character, but I am getting heavily off track here. I bring all of this up just to hone in the point that the parallels between the Divide with the vast expanse of this desolate and ruined landscape of the Out of bounds are not lost on me. And if the parallel here was intentional, then it was extremely smart. Walking around this new canyon wreckage leads to little discovery. There's another radio tower here, along with one that looks to have fallen at some point. There doesn't seem to be a way to get back in the main wasteland from here either, and as Bosch looks, he seems to have gotten spooked by another odd noise in the distance. Heading south from canyon wreckage leads us to more invisible barriers again, something that feels really intentionally placed for what is supposed to be the out of bounds. With nothing much else to do, the player goes back to explore more of the canyon wreckage, and evidently, something was here all along.
Ooh. Oh. Oh, wow. I didn't realize that was there either. What the fuck? It was like a little fucking like catch.
Underneath what looks like a hollowed out missile silo.
Okay, now hold on a minute. He did something that he's not even supposed to do. Hold on a minute.
Underneath what looks like a hollow—
You can't crouch! You can't crouch under things! That's something that you can't do in Fallout! Wait a fucking minute! You can't do that! It's such a stupid out of place thing. Fuck! Fuck! I can't
Glad
believe,
you noticed
I can't
Dora.
believe that's what catches me. Fun fucking fact here that I'm going to tell you. In Fallout New Vegas, in every Fallout game, crouching does not make your player model smaller. You are still the same height. You can't enter small crevices no matter what you do. That's not possible. None of the Fallout games can do that. Not even the new one. You can't do that.
hollowed out missile silo
funny.
is the entrance
Oh
to a
my
bunker that
God.
goes down several flights of stairs. Opening the door at the bottom leads to a small shelter littered with multiple junk items, as well as what looks like a safe.
It's really funny to me that I remembered that so vividly, because I know this because I was thinking about the gameplay of Fallout, where I even told myself that it would make so much more sense to have areas to locate if you could only just crouch to those areas. Like having areas that you can go through like little vents and stuff. I thought that was like something that they needed. Yeah.
The collision meshes are fuck like that, Oman.
Yup, exactly.
However, the door is completely inaccessible. There's a few terminals scattered around, but the first doesn't seem to hold anything worth commenting on, since it's just a bunch of periods and like the letters CL. I don't know what that can stand for.
It's like hanging out with a woman. Just kidding, don't cancel me.
Or like the fucking caring Luigi. On the floor is a bedroll that actually gives us a unique message screen once picked up. Well-preserved sleeping bag. Hasn't been used in a while. This is likely directly telling us that this place has
Women
not had any
asterisk
occupants
looks in
for
camera
quite some time.
asterisk.
Further searching inside the bunker, Further searching inside the bunker, Bosch just starts to like throw shit around before finding
Brother,
a
you are
lantern melee
lucky that
weapon,
your
something he
girlfriend
seems
is long
particularly
distance.
infatuated with for a moment. But
If my girlfriend was here and I made that joke, I would definitely feel the consequences of my actions. All you'd hear in the background is, wow, you would say something like that, and then give me an earful after.
that is far from the only interesting thing down here. What the fuck are you doing here? So
That's fucking
the
funny.
platinum chip, the thing that is literally the reason why there's a New Vegas plot in the first place, is just chilling in a random ass bunker, along with many other chips from plenty other casinos. But for some reason, Bosch doesn't bother taking all of them, despite the fact that cashing all of them would equal to more than 35,000 caps if he made it back to the strip. Like, what the fuck are you doing? The second terminal down here leads for a lot more to be
See, you know this video is fake because he's not a loot goblin like anybody who plays these fucking games.
uncovered than the first. Although all of the options are labeled as null, some are able to get working. Many entries are just pictures of what is likely the Mojave landscape, one featuring the Vegas Strip with several streaks in the sky, streaks that are present in almost all of the other photos. Sleuthing further leads us to find redacted email conversations between two unknown parties.
Loading it into the console crashes everything. I knew he'd pull something like this.
Subject: truck.
You sure this thing is the right truck?
The next page is a document, the top reading cargo something. Right under it, we can see its delivery destination.
Bro, please tell me you're not serious. It says cargo manifest. Oh my fucking god, bro. You can't be serious. It says fucking cargo manifest. It says cargo manifest.
Cargo manifest.
I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. It's not hard to read. God damn it.
Is the Lucky 38 Tower in Las Vegas, and the amount of what's being carried is one of one. This is nothing that I can think of this as other than the shipping details of the platinum chip. Nothing else on this terminal seems accessible, so it's left for now. Somehow this is still more info than the DOJ can give us. On the bed next to the terminal, however, is a pistol.
Should not go there.
No, literally, it
so broken, bro. He says, at least it doesn't say cargo space. Cars should not go there.
Kuma.
Yeah, no shit.
Are you proud of yourself, Law?
That's so good.
Hell yes, I made you burst out laughing. I love this moment.
I have to calm down. It's so fucking funny. Let's continue.
It's just called
LOL.
pistol. Bosch tries to equip it, but the thing is completely broken. Just as it looks like Bosch has found something of note down here, he stumbles upon something really strange. A briefcase, but one that is marked as owned. Therefore, taking it would count as stealing. Curious about the briefcase, Bosch equips it before throwing it to the ground, which triggers a cue as if it's about to explode. Bracing for cover, nothing seems to happen. The beeping stops, and Bosch is rewarded with a generous 5 XP for his work here. Picking up the briefcase now no longer classifies as stealing, as if the beeping was just a way to transfer ownership of something. Now, to my knowledge, nothing like this exists in New Vegas itself, rather having an origin to a mod that's been around since at least 2013 from this article that I found. You can see that the custom icon for the briefcase is near identical, although it doesn't seem like the mod is around anymore. The Nexus page stating it's been set to hidden due to being broken. The player collects the briefcase once more and starts to exit the bunker. Really bizarre noises are able to be heard just as he leaves the premises. We're back at Canyon Wreckage, starting the journey once more. The time outside is making the landscape look noticeably darker, with sandstorms starting up. There's little discovery for some time outside of this strange pile of rubble, another looking close by. But once this gets investigated, it looks like we have found the crash site of that pilot. Despite more of that mystery solved, there doesn't seem to be any.
It's the origin of what seems to be the black box. This is where the story leads to. Okay.
Anything of note in the crash site itself. Night starts to fall on the wastes. The sandstorm's kicking up further until.
What?
Are you fuck?
What the fuck is that? What? He's just a little guy. He's just swimming by.
Fucking kidding me. Don't ever buy no jet from the Fiends, bro. The next thing you know, you're walking west and you find the fucking
Is
killer
that a
fish from
fish?
San Diego. We see more schools of these airfish just floating about as we walk. Are we possibly walking through what was meant to be a lake? The water not placed here, but assets such as the fish and possibly even a secret in the form of the wrecked plane crash are still present. Also, not to go.
Okay, wait, hold on. Is that the same airplane? Wait, guys. I need like a quick answer here. I need a quick answer here. Is that the same airplane that you build up, the bomber plane that you get for the boomers? Is that the same bomber plane? No, damn it.
Number.
On another tangent.
Damn
but, like,
it, I was gonna make a theory.
imagine this scenario from the lens of the courier character themselves for a second. Through dialogue in the game, it's possible that you might not even fucking know what a fish is. So imagine not only having for the last 2 days been stranded in some
That is
nightmare
not
realm,
the
not
same
being able to get
airplane,
back home, and
but
the
that is one of the airplanes that is at Nellis Airfields.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay, that's interesting.
No,
I thought it was gonna be the same
Bomber
one
is bigger, I think.
for sure. I'm sorry. Another thing that just caught me off guard is this.
imagine this scenario from the lens of the courier character themselves for a second. Through dialogue in the game, it's possible that you might not even fucking know what a fish
What the hell is a fish? Fucking again. God damn it.
is. So imagine not only having for the last 2 days been stranded in some nightmare realm, not being able to get back
That is
home, and the
actually the
first sign of
plane
life you
also
see is a
used in
species
the
you've
Andrea
literally never
training
seen before
and
doing something
Oh.
it's not even
That's
supposed
interesting.
to be doing. There's not a way to actually kill fish in New Vegas, so the only thing Bosch can really do is just ignore the oddities and continue walking northwest towards the location marker. The crater gets deeper and darker as we progress to the destination, giving further credence that this was almost likely meant to be a lake at some point. But if there was meant to be water here at some point, I think we'll find relief to there not being now.
That's straight up hell.
LOL. If he doesn't know what a fish is, he might actually think the fish is supposed to do that.
That's actually really fucking funny if you think about it. Bro, the courier might not know what a fish is and then immediately see that and then just be like, oh yeah, no, that's probably normal. That's what a fish, that's funny. Holy shit. Oh, what? No, I missed something.
Look at your ex-wife's box. Yes, I know this location. This is just east, I believe, of Nellis Airfield, where you can find a lot of the sonic screaming. Fire alert, very.
Oh, okay.
This upload is very strange at a first glance, completely derailing the flow of the uploads so far. Bosch even says in the description that this video is not his. Maybe someone else from the forum mentioned in the first episode? In the video itself, the only scary thing seems to be the player willingly listening to Johnny Guitar. After taking out a
Johnny
band of
Guitar's annoying.
mercenaries, their gaze seems to get captured by something in the distance. Despite the video having been captured in 1080p, the actual quality does not reflect that, so it's really hard to tell what the player is actually looking at. Dr. Bosch even points out himself that he can't make out a glow either, but at the very least he tells us we're meant to be looking for a glow. If we bump up the saturation, it may be
Ooh.
possible
Where the
that there
player
is a
is staring
strange
at right
outline
now
omitting
is
from
where
this
the
part of the
Zeta
cliffside.
mothership
This could
lands.
be a myriad of things.
Oh.
Maybe the lights from that
I am
strange
so
radio
surprised you
tower
remember
that
all
we
that.
ran into a few episodes back. Some people
Should probably pause it whenever I fucking talk, for fuck's sake. I'm surprised that you actually know the landmarks. I can only know
Only
landmarks
if you
when
have
actively
wild
playing.
wasteland.
Oh yeah, I know that. I can only think of landmarks when I'm actively playing the game, but when I'm off of the game, when I'm off of anything that I'm doing, gaming or anything, I just don't know shit. I'm fucking gone, basically.
People even toyed with the idea of this possibly being Bosch shooting around his flare gun like a fucking idiot every other second. I'm not really sure. This video is too short to make out any other notable oddities other than that. I guess I can point out that at this location a UFO can be present, but that's only if you have the Wild Wasteland perk, so its omission here isn't really anything that abnormal. Although separate people experiencing oddities could give credence to other things we'll talk about later. As for now, Let's see what Bosch is dealing with in that bottomless pit.
It's funny because the only oddity that I remember having was when I was playing New Vegas, I was doing a fisting build and I had my fucking my power fist on me fighting a Deathclaw, and I hit the fucking Deathclaw, and for some reason the ragdoll physics activated in a certain way that launched them into the fucking air. I actually have that clip. It's a clip on my channel. It's a clip that I have. Down.
The video starts with data moshed footage before a descent into the pit starts to be attempted. The flare gun does little to nothing to reveal what's at the bottom, and the process of getting there is kind of long and tedious, so I'll speed things up. At around the 2-minute mark, you can start to make out a setup of some sort at the bottom of the pit. Once at the bottom, the setup is revealed to be a chair placed on the front of a checkerboard and a stool with a terminal on it. To its right, a radio. Bosch sits down at the setup and gives quite possibly my favorite shot in the entire series. At some point, the radio station next to them actually starts playing Morse code.
Morse code is so fucking weird.
I have no idea how to translate Morse code on the spot. I'm not fucking Dustin Henderson, so I put it through a
Do you guys know Morse code? Do you guys know what it said?
spectrogram and solved it that way.
Okay, never mind.
This thing's hollow. It goes on forever, and
This is another reference, this being a cut-off excerpt of a line from 2001, A Space Odyssey. The full phrase is,
this thing's hollow.
Not
it goes
at
on
this
forever,
speed.
and oh my god, it's full of stars.
although this is a phrase featured in the original novel, it's not actually mentioned in the theatrical adaptation. One of the first results when searching the quote itself is a Reddit thread on the Mandela Effect board talking about remembering hearing it in the movie. Now, I can't really find many other examples of this being a popular Mandela Effect contribution, and the only other source comes from Reddit, so I have no idea if this is meant to be connected in any way, but I thought it would at least be worth mentioning. Descending into the void-like cavern further, Bosch stumbles upon a hidden entrance right next to the setup. Once again, it's another object only labeled as null. Heading inside finds him a cave. Exploration down here is very brief for now and picks up right in the next installment.
I don't like the face.
We pick up with Bosch finding and collecting a knife. The expedition through the caves is nothing short of suspenseful. This is definitely the scariest installment so far. So much of the stuff down here makes no sense. Radios playing static in abandoned minecarts, random patches of blood and indistinguishable gore laced on the walls and ceiling, a giant pit of green radioactive water, a baby crib with a blue ribbon inside. Even Bosch comments on this place as falling apart at the seams. The most emotion he's probably put into any of these descriptions since episode 1. Even with all the oddities we experienced in the wasteland, the vibes down here are now meant to be screaming in your face that something is not right. But the only thing Bosch can seem to do at this point is look for an exit. The discoveries continue to keep this dreadful theme.
That's a bag of flesh. It's a super mutant's bag of flesh. That's what that is.
Only boxes to loot coming in the form of these gore bags. An asset so niche it literally only ever shows up in 2 locations in the entire game, a few being able to be found at the cave at Lake Mead and Black Mountain. One of the discoveries that's made further into this cave is this monolithic stone face carved into a random part of the cave's wall. Something that feels so random, yet so intentional with the aesthetic at the same time. A part of Fallout's look that went on to become more abandoned as the series matured was this Art Deco architecture. Something prominently featured all throughout Fallout 1 and 2, and even some places in 3. 4 and onwards would start to divorce itself from this aesthetic, leaning less into...
I feel like it should keep its aesthetics from the past. I don't understand. I do understand. I do understand. they adopted it. Bethesda adopted Fallout and obviously wanted to change it away from what the original creation was. And I think that's kind of normal for whenever a different company ever gets their paws on a different franchise, right? So like, I'm making a game. Obviously, it's going to be very heavily Gooner, right? It's going to be a Gooner game. It's not going to be fucking straight up like...
The Gothic stuff is so cool, but godam, I can't stand the Jetsons BS.
Like very, very, like the art is definitely going to be heavily fucking like sexualizing a lot of the characters. But obviously, if at any point that I end up selling the thing, like let's say I do sell it, right? Like we get to that point, it gets so popular that people actually end up wanting to, buy it and whatnot, and then a different company gets it, then that whole aesthetic that I had before is probably going to be gone by the next one, because the company that's going to buy it is probably going to have a different philosophy from my own. So it just makes sense for that to happen. But it's kind of sad if you think about it, because yes, the futuristic Gothic aesthetic that I had before, the Art Deco that I was going for, did have a really good vibe to it, and it would have definitely kind of done so well seeing that in 3D, exploring places with that kind of feeling in mind. And then we just get whatever this is now, and it's kind of, it feels watered down. It definitely feels a lot more watered down.
To Gothic monoliths and more Jetsons, even if it's a complete downgrade. Faces and stone statues of people being carved into the sides of buildings was such a staple for former owners of Fallout's Interplay and Black Isles aesthetic. This building in the back of the opening cinematic of Fallout 1, the Cathedral in Fallout 1, the Enclave oil rig in Fallout 2, all of these things have this eerie, larger-than-life sense to them that would make the landscape resemble that more of Gotham City than our traditional style of this world's West Coast cities. This, having been featured here, feels like another remnant of a style that was meant to be forgotten, hidden away in this cave, far beyond anything the player is actually meant to see. Exploring further leads us to a crashed van?
So
how the hell did this get down?
A company starts selling a mystery Yuffie jar set.
A mystery.
Collect them all.
I would love to be the person to sell mystery Yuffie jars. That'd be so fucking cool. Each jar is just like a different Yuffie design from before, and then you'll have like hyper rare Yuffie design that you can get. People would want to collect them. That's cool. I'm a collector. I'd love that kind of aesthetic. I would love to be the type to sell that kind of product. That'd probably be one of the products I have if I ever did do figurines. It'd be cool.
Here. Weirder than that, the only things the crates inside seem to have been carrying are chips from the 3 casinos on the strip. Back in that bunker, one of the only accessible emails did mention a truck, and with all the chips that were down there as well, this seems to be a delivery that was intercepted at some point. More nonsensical discoveries make themselves known to us in the form of several pieces of heavy machinery being scattered all throughout, with a plank leading to another bottomless pit beside it. Bosch narrowly makes his way down, the bottomless pit leading to an even deeper level of the cave. Interestingly, despite entering from multiple hatches and pathways, when we look behind us, there doesn't seem to be any sign of an exit that can be seen after entering. Whatever hell he continues to seal himself in is one that he will not be able to crawl back out of. Not far from the entrance.
Whoever was down. Here's toilet, and Bosch was exploring the poop hole.
The bottomless poop hole. That'd be fucking hilarious. Just fucking exploring, be like, whoa, this is so interesting. Just a mountain of defecation from the last guy who was there.
Lies possibly one of the most significant discoveries yet. It's Bosch. It's his exact outfit, sporting the name Hieronymus B. On himself is a note labeled Instructions. Set it up. You will know where. Unknown friends will come find you. He proceeds to take the gear off of him, using it to repair his own, as if this version of him is being sent to finish whatever the other couldn't, implying the cycle has been repeated before. Next to the body is another tunnel going deeper, again, with no way to return back. The scenery down here is a lot more visible than before, so that's good at least, I think. There's a passageway leading towards the 2 gates. One is completely submerged faction rebel, so it's not really enterable.
That's
The other, however,
fun.
leads to a new door.
Is he gonna like, what if like this whole thing is just gonna be him like LARPing as like, how do I explain this? Him LARPing a terrorist attack on like a fucking like very prominent terrorist attack that happened on US grounds or something. That's what he's doing.
We find ourselves in an interior that vaguely resembles the casinos on the Strip, just stripped away of any notable decoration, as if this place was left vacant for one reason or another. Most of the doors around are inaccessible, aside from one, leading to a lower level of this facility. Going further down adds to the suspense. The ambient noise gets louder, visibly spooking Bosch as it plays. At the bottom is a door.
I swear to God,
We are now
if
at the
this is
halfway
some
point
stupid,
of these videos,
boring,
and
backroom
throughout it,
bullshit,
I feel like I
I'm going to
haven't
be
been
so
entirely
mad.
transparent with you all. This
From my assessment on it, I think it's gonna be a lot more creepier than that. If it's backrooms aesthetic type bullshit, then I'm probably gonna be like, oh, this is kind of more funny than it is kind of creepy, which is really funny. And it definitely wouldn't have, it's slow burn. I feel like it would be I feel like something like this would be a slow burn. I feel like this kind of comes up more as a symbolistic type thing, where it's more about like just it being
You still
disturbing
got
with
a
some
lot
of the thing.
more
But yeah,
episodes.
10th video feels
But
like
we're
the
only gonna
point
be
where
able to watch,
things
like,
start
half
to take
of
a
it.
drastic turn. Reveals are made to point to something much more suspicious going on, as well as evidence piling up towards one more specific thread that is becoming too large to ignore. We are in hell. Hieronymus Bosch was a 16th century painter during the Renaissance era, with next to no information known about him as a person. What is known about him was his horrific, apocalyptic depictions of hell. Each one of his pieces is framed as if it's a single snapshot into the horrors of what could await for us beyond. Every scene is so chaotically filled with excruciating
AI
detail
art.
that you could examine just one painting for hours, and you'll likely still not spot every single detail there is
Oh,
to see. It
never
really
mind,
makes you
this
think
is
what a
a
world
heart
like
of
this would
darkness
look like
bullshit.
in motion. Though limited, the findings outside of the Mojave already seem to vaguely invoke some of the imagery Bosch is known for. Animals
I
in
should
bizarre
become the
scenarios,
modern-day
horrific
Bosch.
and organic architectures, surrealist discoveries that don't make logical sense, all pointing to a world
You can be the modern day Bosch, and I'm still gonna be ordering Gunnar art. Do you, buddy?
that applies and runs
I actually put in an order for another piece that I'm getting from the artist that I recommended you, Saucy.
only by its own logic. The naive, apathetic, and frankly disconnecting words and actions of Dr. Bosch perfectly encapsulates the mystery behind the real man. Never once do we get a good glimpse at what Dr. Bosch's career looks like. All we get in the very
Was
early
it the
episodes
spa
is that
charge
he
for
has
the
gray
person
hair,
in line
and it's
before
not
me?
until he puts on the gas mask after the 5th episode
No, this is just cheap art that I get from like random art, like this random artist, because this is so fucking affordable to get from him. The person that I'm gonna get for before you is gonna be the current one that I'm trying to get, who did one art for the pinup for the
Oh,
Patreon.
nice. She
That
got
one.
back to me, and I put in the McDonald's outfit.
Oh, let's go. Have they sent you a sketch or anything? Have they sent you anything for it? I would love to see. All right, let's continue.
do we get more dynamic views of his character in third person. Finding his own body at the end of this
Not
episode
yet.
doesn't just give credence to the
Okay.
connection, it outright confirms it. And although there are many more examples that I could give that points to this hell theory, there's still much I'd wish to save. Not just to let the mystery organically unravel itself, but also because it's only half of what I want to talk about right now. Codename Van Buren, also known as Fallout 3, is a game that doesn't exist. The project was canceled in 2003.
Ooh, maybe the symbolism isn't just hell, but the figurement of development hell. You know, a place where a game goes to when it is not able to be made. So maybe what we're seeing is a symbolism of Van Buren being put into development hell.
Never seeing the light of day outside of the honestly rather expansive information and design documents we have been given throughout the years. In almost every episode since the second one, Van Buren has had so many subtle references to itself, essentially haunting the narrative of Dr. Bosch's playthrough. His vice president's name is the one on the text of the main quest. Items are renamed or replaced that reflect events not happening in our universe. Quests that would have been featured in the project, such as Code Yourself Smarter, are directly referenced, or the referencing of core design philosophies of the original Black Isle games being alluded to, such as the Art Deco aesthetic. New Vegas had already consumed a lot of Van Buren's ideas, Hoover Dam, the Legion, and Joshua Graham being notable ones, but this gives us the impression that New Vegas didn't just recycle ideas from the scrapped project, but directly consumed it somewhere along development. It makes you really wonder what the state of the franchise is in this universe.
Somewhere over the rainbow.
Things pick back up right after the glitch that ended last episode. Bosch looking displaced and disoriented from where he was at first, the scene looking like he was attacked in some way. Blood litters the floors and his items have been displaced, specifically his...
So is it not about Van Buren being in development hell? Maybe? I don't know what it's about, I'm just guessing.
Lantern, briefcase, signaling gun, and binoculars. He's also had half of his health taken away. We'll see later on that every other item Bosch has acquired over time besides these things were also stripped from him, further feeding into that feeling that we're on the second half of this expedition. Taking a moment to recoup bearings, he heads into another room on this side of the building. The atmosphere is noticeably much more calming than previously. The ambience is soothing and the room is well lit. It almost invokes the feeling of stumbling upon a safe room in a survival horror game. It's a slice of serenity in a world that's becoming overbearingly hostile. Interestingly, in this dining hall, there's a cropped out portion of the Ultralux billboard that can be found in-game, but with the faces blurred out. Given that this seems to be a dining hall, this could also be a nod to the White Glove Society, considering they wear masks in order to keep the allure of mystery of their identity. If that's the case, this steak that they eat to regain their health could be a lot sketchier than let on. I do want to point out that before Bosch investigates the dining table, he makes sure to make a detour behind this bar and steals all of the vodka and scotch. But considering he saw literal gore bags earlier, like, yeah, me too, man. This entire care package that seemed to be left here for him is really odd. The steak makes sense. It's to recoup the health that he lost during that attack. But beside the steak, there is also this blood bag labeled acrylonitrile. Looking up what this even was, I learned that it's a toxic chemical liquid primarily used to produce plastic and rubber appliances. Oh. So, like, not something that I would want to include in my bulking plate, but Bosch drinks it, so I guess he's just built different. The last consumable item here is a book labeled Tryphonic Protenoia. Now, this one leads down a really interesting rabbit hole. I wasn't sure what this was at all, but it's tied to a religious belief known as Gnosticism. This led me to do something I typically never
Gnosticism.
do.
Oh man,
willingly
we're back on it.
Read. The Trimorphic Protenoia is a really interesting text that really sets up the foundation of a lot of the fundamental beliefs of Gnosticism, but that's not the primary thing I want to briefly discuss here. Protenoia herself is described very in-depth in this scripture, but I less want to focus on what Protenoia is and more what she is described to do in this scripture, and that's descending to the underworld in order to nullify and liberate from its effects. I descended to the mist of the underworld, and I shone down upon the darkness. Every bond I loosened from you, and the chains of the demons of the underworld I broke. The high walls of darkness I overthrew, and the secure gates of those pitiless ones I broke, and I smashed their bars. All of these things are examples of a force descending to the underworld in order to nullify it in some way. I could be really off base here, and if there's any New Vegas heads who also happen to be Gnostics watching this video, I am really sorry if I'm misinterpreting your text, but this was my interpretation, and it's the one I feel most appropriately fits into the context of what we've been dissecting. And one more thing about this protanoia point too. This one could be a stretch, but at one point the scripture describes protanoia as existing in a matter of three: the Father, the Mother, and the Son. Looking back at that Ultralux billboard, we see three figures, two masculine, one feminine. It could just be a convenient coincidence, but with how every other little detail has played out here, I thought it would at least be something interesting to point out. Moving back to the video, consuming the book in-game permanently increases Bosch's speech by 3.
I thought it was a note. I thought it was a fucking note. I didn't know it was an actual consumable. What the fuck do you mean?
He then starts to do very mundane things like playing with physics objects, viewing his character in third person, etc. You really start to get the feeling that he is trying to prolong this piece.
And then she told some guy to read off of a golden plate in the bottom of a hat. I thought he had to stick his face into in order to translate her holy text. The holy text says that they will then ascend with aliens to the planet, with the third ring and receive all the anal sex they desire. Dum D. UMB dum 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 dum.
That's the Mormon text, isn't it? John Adams? That's John Adams. That's absolutely John Adams. I think there's a difference between John Adams and the Gnosticism. I'm pretty fucking sure.
He has currently found himself in, and once again, the mannerisms here perfectly encapsulate that. And if it wasn't obvious already, the long, sprawled out table with a subject directly in the middle is clearly meant to invoke the imagery of Da Vinci's Last Supper painting. There's another one of these rooms that leads into nothing but a white void, though Bosch this time is courageous enough to embark into this one, finding that it's a facade. Entering a new room, he spots what looks like a skeleton in the further area in front of him, though attempts to investigate further start causing the RADS counter to tick like crazy, so he backs off of this room. Investigating the bathrooms has us stumble across two symbols graffitied onto the walls. Hobo symbols, something that is in the files of New Vegas, but go almost completely unused outside of the hospital cross outside of the New Vegas clinic. The ones here translate to something along the lines of this. This diagonal square with a line shape meaning hold your tongue, and this circle and line actually being two separate symbols. The circle means nothing here, and the line means doubtful. The circle and the line here feel like they directly...
You kind of realize that I forgot that hobo signals exist in fucking Fallout. I didn't realize it until it's just like, oh yeah, I remember that fact. I remember like looking at some of them, but then I forget. This is more along the lines when I was like super into like looking at the lore of Fallout New Vegas and the small little doodads that you find around. It's interesting. I'm not gonna lie. Fucking hobo symbols are always a funny thing to look at. Honestly.
Contradict themselves in the statements they're trying to make. And we know there is something here. This room has been one of the most interesting we've stumbled upon this entire breakdown. Maybe instead of being left here at once, these are representing a conversation. Have more than one person already been here before? The door to the right side of the bathrooms, however...
Oh wow, okay.
Huh. I feel like I've seen this before. On the other side of this hall is the entrance to a house. These house interiors kind of resemble the ones that are found in the Big Empty. There's nothing much interesting on the first floor, but the second floor is
So it's both the houses in the big empty, and it's also the houses that you find in Andale as well, and the minefield in Fallout 3, by the way.
chock full of oddities. Rooms flipped upside down, just like how we saw at the very beginning of our journey. Windows that hold nothing but the void, rooms blocked off by furniture, and one room with a terminal. A terminal filled with practically endless null entries. At first, some of these entries seem to be gibberish, but opening up one gives us an excerpt from Moby Dick, and more supposed gibberish. And one of them is from the short story 3 Versions of Judas. Again, more biblical imagery. These null passages continue going on, but one of them looks more intentional than the previous. This looks like sentence structure, and Bosch is intentionally letting these ones play out longer than the previous. And I am honored to say for the first time in this ARG, we got a cipher. Thank you to this commenter for translating it, the cipher code being ROT13. Searching
Chat, you guys are ineffable. I don't think that's a good or a bad thing.
the
I'm gonna be
source of
honest.
this text, we can also find that it comes from the Nag Hammadi library, the same Gnostic library that Trimorphic Protanoia also belongs to. This text being the Sophia of Jesus Christ. This episode has already been extremely dense with information, so I'd rather just use these more as anecdotes for later than giving a full explanation of a Gnostic text again. Exploring the house greets us with even more oddities, such as this barricade with something indiscernible on the other side. A commenter pointed out that to them, it looks like a massive head with a bleeding eye in the socket, but I personally can't see it. Bosch makes his
It might be gore texture from when you whether blow somebody's head off, or you know, when you have like fucking that one fucking perk that allows you to just blow somebody into pieces. I think it might be that, honestly.
way back to the much more comforting side of the room and sits at the bar. The episode ending on a far calmer and somber note than usual.
That would get me on edge. I don't like open doors. Open doors scare me, actually. I'm not gonna lie.
Things pick off through entering
I
a new
think you're
door that
right.
hasn't
I
been
think they
explored yet.
just
The
enlarged
area,
a
again
piece of the
reminiscent of the
blown-apart
Ultra
skull gore.
Exact, because I am never wrong, chat. I am never wrong.
Lux. The rooms of this area get increasingly bizarre. Standing in the pool plays ambience of people speaking, separate rooms are completely closed off, and down here we find a blast door
The
that
stick.
requires a key. In a really interesting turn of events, Bosch actually tries to brute force his way in with console commands in
Oh,
order
shit,
to
I
open this
almost
door,
forgot.
an
I'll
action
send
that
you the
is
somewhere
met with a
art piece.
swift
Oh yeah,
punishment.
for sure. Whoa!
Whatever has him here isn't allowing him the easy way. Opening the Pip-Boy after reveals the map has been replaced with this. An ominous red landscape, nothing even remotely resembling the Mojave anymore. In the middle sits us, in this strange, almost flower-like confine. We heal by drinking a bottle of Sunset before proceeding into another room. This room also doesn't make any sense. Stationed directly inside the room. Heal by us. And anyway. Gift punishment.
God damn, dude.
Whatever has him here isn't allowing him the easy way. Before proceeding
damn.
into another
They're looking
room.
at
Gomer
This room
soft
also
Doro.
doesn't make any sense. Stationed directly inside of a void with the path in front of us
Oh, it's
just
the
barely
fucking
being
bar scene.
illuminated. A signal is picked up here once again. Some strange, indiscernible tower also visible in the pitch black distance.
That's fucking cool.
Thankfully, our time here is cut short, leading to more industrial hallways. Most of the entrances don't make any sense, those familiar void doors still being here, along with this door that leads to an
Hell yeah.
unenterable cage. In the same room with the blast door lies an elevator. Going down, we're brought to an environment reminiscent of the industrial hallways of the Sierra Madre. ashtray, the red smoke on the floor even reminiscing the cloud. Inside of here are these machines producing something. Flat, indiscernible sheets of things, almost looking like a mattress made of flesh. Heading up the catwalk brings us to a toolbox with a key in
There's nothing scarier than fucking meat.
it. Probably the key to that blast door, which if it is really funny. Like, all Bosch had to do was walk into the other room to find a key and he would have been able to save himself from being attacked by this shadow creature. Before heading back, there's this little room with a side terminal that has no readable entries, though the copyright says 1962 to 1976. This is very early on in the Fallout timeline, even compared to when the bombs drop. This date being so old is really, really strange, especially considering that Robco were the creators of this terminal, and they wouldn't have been created until decades after this point. Opening the closed-off door greets us with a more dilapidated version of the room above us. Heading to the left brings us to another catwalk, this one looking like it's inside of a cave.
It's funny because somebody complained about me doing the random thing where I'm like, oh, that's crazy. Oh, insane. Oh, that's terrible. Random things that I do. It's funny because that's what I do whenever I'm like watching videos alone. Like, whoa. In my head, obviously.
More machinery can be found here, as well as piles on top of piles of missiles. Do not let Ulysses down here. He'd have a fucking field day. There's nothing else really.
Fucking grab the stupid laser gun that you get from the original DLC, bring it in there, and just blow them the fuck up.
Damn streamer doing reactions and reaction content.
Yeah, everybody should be pissed. The fact that I'm reacting to reaction content
really notable here. So we head back into the main room. Another door leads us to a white void, but for some reason there's also just a rad roach chilling in here. If I'm correct, this is like the first actual entity we've seen in this entire series since episode 1. It doesn't really do anything though. Hitting it causes its collision to freak the hell out and it starts falling in an infinite loop. Not wanting to deal with whatever this is, Bosch just closes the door and moves on. The door to the right leads us to what I believe to be the interior of Camp McCarran Airport, another really prominent NCR location, much like the Outpost. But again, this room doesn't seem to serve any practical purpose. Another room leads us to more clashing interior.
Which have you guys played the Silent Hill mod for Fallout New Vegas? It's a very interesting mod. I like playing it. It was a really nice mod to play. It made things a little creepy whenever you're going through it. I kind of want to do gameplay of it because it's just such an interesting mod to play. It kind of reminds me of that, you know, with all the fucking crazy shit that's been going on. Very, very, very much reminds me of that.
This looking reminiscent to the hotels of the Gomorrah Casino. The architecture here is once again impossible. Bosch is even able to sleep on an upside down bed. The date and time reading December -9879. Time just doesn't seem to be a relevant concept down here. An interesting detail I'd feel remiss to not mention is that when entering this area, one of the things Bosch finds is a sweet roll. Now, this seems innocuous on the surface, but there is so much more about this pastry and games made in the...
That's not how the sweet roll looks. Originally in game, it looks like a patty. I'm pretty fucking sure.
Creation engine that I feel like I need to talk about it at least for a second, as it could actually help explain some of the stuff that's been happening down here. The sweet roll is something that has been a tradition found in every single Bethesda-made game, starting from Oblivion, even being able to be found in Starfield. The item description even playfully boasting that it's the tastiest treat found in any universe. Sweet rolls aren't found in New Vegas, but they can be found in Fallout 3 and even Fallout 4.
I didn't even know that.
The existence of it here in New Vegas not only adds more to the...
I didn't even realize that. I just realized, yeah, you're right. You can't find a sweet roll in fucking Fallout New Vegas. What? Fucking what? Oh, because it's not even a Bethesda game. It's an Obsidian game.
Fallout 3 connections from way earlier in the video, but feels outwardly deliberate in a way that seems particularly intimate to the scope of events that have been transpiring. You get punished when you bend the rules. You get rewarded when you obey them. At least, that's what I've been picking up on. Walking around leads to some more oddities, a radio emitting a strange frequency. Hitting it causes the frequency to be suppressed. Walking down a hallway, one of the doors opens by itself. The room inside is even more desolate than before. In here sits a bathtub filled with void. The void being a door.
Why would you do that?
The place we land is far more uncomfortable than where we were. Pitch black hallways stretch for as far as our eyes can see, the light of the Pip-Boy barely illuminating the path ahead. The player seems indecisive on the path he wants to take, doors to the side leading to nothing but rows and rows of bathroom stalls. One of them housing a toilet clogged with red dice. Okay, wait, actually, what? Wait, turn the music off. What the hell is this supposed to represent, you fucking place? The video ends with this.
Same. He's running. You can't run in the game. That's another thing. So A, you can't crouch in the game, and B, you can't run in the game.
Footsteps rapid approaching.
Congratulations, Dr. Bosch. You managed to scare the shit out of me with an MP3 file.
That's fucking funny. That's fucking terrifying.
1858-23. Scraping the hard drive. Managed to salvage this.
I love intro.
Is that what the fuck? So I'm looking for something at the same time of watching this. I didn't realize that I just saw Black Isle.
Hey, weren't we watching an hour?
Well, half of it is what we're watching. We're watching half. We're almost. I've just been yapping. That's why it's like longer than an hour. Oh, what the fuck?
Wow. Despite having the shortest runtime of any of these episodes of the entire series, this is the most transparent and upfront any of these videos have been for us up until this point. And if you don't know why, it's a little bit of a story. I've been presenting this video from a very Fallout fan lens, and I understand that. If you're an actual normal person with a life that's watching this, I'd imagine it's probably a little hard to keep up, so I'll explain it as best as I can. Everything about this intro is so wrong. The companies Interplay and Black Isle serve as the companies that published this game. But not only did these two have nothing to do with the development of New Vegas, neither of them were even in operation for years after New Vegas
Black Isle was fucking
development.
gone,
The
dude.
only way for this to even be remotely possible is if we're not just in an alternate universe, but
Ho 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 ho. Alternate universe. That's funny. Ha ha ha. Interplay and Daka have been at a company for like the fucking longest amount of time. Holy shit.
an alternate timeline. Interplay and Black Isle are the two companies that founded the Fallout IP before handing the rights to Bethesda and having Obsidian contracted to make New Vegas. The existence of them here on the title screen tells us so much about the state of this timeline, and it certainly raises a plethora of questions in its wake. How did these companies survive going bankrupt? Did they still contact Bethesda to use the Gamebryo engine? We know that this game still runs in it through the use of their console commands, but more pressing than that, why is New Vegas missing from the sky?
The pod.
Look at that. It wasn't a fuck-ass backroom story Hummer sock to Doro.
After
sock to
narrowly
Doro.
escaping
It's a
whatever
development
threat is
hell
chasing
story.
us, we arrive somewhere else. The video opening with a really uncomfortable noise. Getting somewhat of a bearing of our surroundings, we notice that we're actually back in the same environment we came from. It's just this time, the lights have gone completely dim. It's like we wandered somewhere we weren't supposed to see, and now nothing's acting right. One thing that I didn't mention from the previous video because I was too focused on the fucking
Looks
sweet
like
roll,
the
but
back
does
rooms
carry
to me
over into
right
here
now.
are the paintings that litter the walls of these hallways. I didn't pay much mind to them on a first watch, but after reverse image searching them, I discovered that a majority of them come from the same family of paintings. The paintings in question are the Black paintings by Francisco Goya, a painter belonging to the Romantic era, an art movement about 5 generations separated from Hieronymus Bosch. His most famous work, and the one that you've probably seen before, is the one depicting the Roman god Saturn devouring his son. The most
I remember that. I was like, whoa, that's crazy, bro. Somebody painting that shit? Insane. I thought it was Kronos eating Zeus. I was wrong.
noteworthy part about these paintings is the fact that they were never meant to be seen by anyone other than Francisco himself. The paintings weren't even translated to canvas. Many of them were simply plastered right onto the walls of Goya's house. A lot of the art still has a deep hair of mystery behind them today, many still not knowing the true meanings of these works, other than inferring that they were made at a time of
That's a kink, buddy. I hope you're ready for what you're cooking.
Deep mental decline for the man. The most straightforward connection I can make to these paintings with the rest of the context given to us is the private and almost intrusive nature on our end of viewing these paintings. It feels like another subtle way the game, once again, telling us we are seeing something we are not supposed to be seeing. The landscape continues to deteriorate into something on the borderline of nightmarish and nonsensical.
In my opinion, I much prefer Dr. Seuss's After Dark drawings.
Dr. Seuss After Dark drawings? What is this? Hold on, let me search this up real quick. You got me interested. Dr. Seuss.
Kinky Cat in the Hat.
Oh wow, what the fuck? I'm like looking at them. I don't know if I'm looking at the right ones. I'll show them later. I'll show them later. All right, let's continue.
A room that is scaled up so large, we feel like an ant in comparison. Traversing through these dark corridors lands us into an auditorium of some kind. A chair here is marked as claimed, but we're able to sit down in it anyways. Surrounding us are many other chairs, as if there was some sort of meeting here long ago. Things get even stranger when we see a peek behind a curtain we can't walk through, sporting a newspaper clipping on the wall. Although we can't make out the exact words, the headline is very readable. House under investigation, Robco's future unclear. Now, I thought I was crazy for a moment when I first saw this because I never recalled seeing anything like this in the game itself. Because this is not present in New Vegas. This is something special. Something that can only be discovered here. Retracing our steps leads us back into a bedroom with a blast door we previously haven't seen. Inside is a giant industrial room with some sort of pod in the middle. The pod seeming to be our objective. Inside the
we about to fucking go to VR chat, boys. Let's fucking go.
pod sits a mangled and rotting corpse that still has a breathing mask on. We have the option to activate the pod, but Bosch seems to be uncertain at the moment, the terminology here being extremely vague. He equips the briefcase that I almost forgot we even had anymore, and out of what looks like to be instinct, tosses it towards the pod.
Oh.
The ultimate
The
virtual
quest
sexy page
is
with
complete.
The bros.
I'm unsure exactly what this means for now. The briefcase
In the future, I shall be in my VR chat goggles, rotting in my goddamn thing as I'm getting a blowjob from the femboy who's not actually a femboy.
continues to beep, and Bosch now seems directionless. He heads out of this room, but not from the way he came. Instead, heading down an elevator to a dense, lush cave. So lush that it looks suffocating to walk through. In this cave, they find another body of themselves, just like the one we saw a few episodes ago. But this time, instead of Hieronymus B, it is simply named Null. Walking further in, we spot more, eventually stopping at an entire pile.
Oh, wow,
Is
okay.
this where previous attempts are disposed of? It's difficult to discern an answer as of now. Walking through the vegetation finally leads us to what looks like to be an exit. Another door to Null.
It's like the it's like that one fucking thing in what is it, Planet of the Apes, where they like saw this, oh no, Space Odyssey, where they're like looking at this fucking giant obelisk. That's what that reminded me of.
Like, it would be really funny if you just stop here. It is about halfway through after all.
Yeah, actually, I was planning to do that. Thank you, Kuma.
Yeah, what Kuma said.
But that will be all for today. I'm giving you guys a 2-hour video of me randomly rambling about things and then laughing at a joke that one of my chatters says, because that shit was fucking funny. But yeah, no, this is the perfect time. I didn't think that it was actually gonna hit like literally right in the middle. Fucking 1 hour, 22 minutes and 9 seconds from a 2 hour and 44 minute and 18-second thing. Directly in the fucking minute.
Ready for the rest of it, Mursoc to Duro.
Because your brain is fried, you idiot. It's
Because
not
your brain
fried.
is
I'm
fried,
doing
you
fine. I'm doing fine. This is the exact middle anyway. But yeah, thank you very much for coming by. This is going to be the end of today's video. I will be coming out with more later on in the future, with more content surrounding other things. Maybe we might end up looking at the series ourselves to kind of get ourselves immersed in Bosch's little extravaganza and see for ourselves what happens in there. But thank you very much for coming by. I really do appreciate it. If you want more UV content, in the description below, you can read a comic that I've been making. You can read it on Patreon, Pixiv, Webtoons, and fucking Tapas. And if you want to support me, you can support me down on Patreon as well. All my money goes towards my projects as well as the artists that help me with these projects. And yeah, but make sure you guys take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Mwah. Love you all. Bye, everybody.